Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Michelle and I am the creator and blogger behind the website yarnthrift.com. I am a crochet designer and all of my designs are modern crochet for every day. And today we are going to be going over how to achieve these color changes. So we have two color changes we're going to go over. We're going to go over dropping one color for another when you're going to come back and work it again in the next row. And then we are also going to go over color changes when you're going to just be using a completely new color all the way across before switching back to the previous color before. So let's jump in and get started. For today's tutorial, we are using a 9mm hook from Furls Crochet. I'm actually so excited about this hook. I've been wanting one of these for a while. I think all of their streamlined resin hooks are beautiful, but this one absolutely steals the show. I don't know if you can all see it, but there are some beautiful glittery pieces in it, so I'm obsessed. And also I'm very much a neutral color scheme type of girl, so this is just beautiful for me. And then we are also using the Premier Yarns Premier Basics Chunky. It's a weight 5 bulky yarn, and we are using 3 different colors for this pattern. So I have first color Birch, second color is Terracotta, and finally my color C for this pattern is Steel. So we have a very pretty color palette. I personally think that they go very well together, and we're going to go through some of the color changes for this pattern. We're going to be reviewing 2 types of color changes. We're going to be reviewing color changing by dropping the yarn within a row instead of carrying it over, so that way when we come back around for our next row we can pick it right back up. And then we're also going to be reviewing completely cutting and dropping a yarn to do one alternating row of completely one color. So for all of these, I have been cutting my ends as I work. So when I'm done with one color, I'm cutting that and weaving in an end, and then I will work my contrast, same thing, cut and then weave in that end before I start a new color block as I have up here. So let's jump into today's tutorial. So the first color change that we're going to go over today is going to be switching in the middle of a row in between 2 colors, knowing that you're going to pick up one color in the next row. So you can see here that we have 2 different colors that we're working on in the pattern, this peachy color and this kind of light gray taupe color. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish our next 2 stitches in this color and switch over, dropping our peach yarn so that we can pick it up again in the previous row. So for this, what we're going to do, we're going to finish up this stitch as usual, and when we get to this stitch we're going to complete half, and then when it comes time to pull through all 3, we're actually going to pick up our light gray color, and we're going to complete with that. So you want to take your peach color that you were working with and hold it in place so that this is not too loose, and then pull through with your gray color. And when you're done, you can tighten up your peach a little bit so that it matches the gauge of your other stitches, and then you'll keep working with your gray color all the way across. Now you'll notice that with the peach color we were working with, if we flip this to the opposite side, our peach yarn is here, so when we're coming back across the row we can easily pick this back up and keep working. So I'm going to go ahead and complete the rest of this row and some of the next so that I can show you this quick color change and what it'll look like. Okay, so now we're back to the same spot we were in where we have one color change coming up. So just like last time, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook, and pull up a loop as normal. But instead of yarning over with the strand you were working with, we are going to instead pick up the next color we want to work with, and we will complete our stitch that way. and we can tighten up our gray stitching if we would like. And then we'll continue using our peach. And let's just pull that one more time so it stays in the back. And then when you flip, you can see that we're working with our peach, but when we go back to the next row, our gray will be there for us to pick up. So throughout the pattern, that is how we will be switching colors. It's fairly simple. The only thing is, if you're working with more than 2 bobbins, I just have 2 skeins here. For example, if we had 4 or 5 of these squares, or even 3 of them, we would want to have a bobbin for each color. That way, when we dropped them, we could easily move them around and pick them up just as we're doing with 2. And a good example that I always like to follow is, as we're working, you'll notice these 2 strands are crossed right now. So as you're working, especially if you have multiple bobbins, you're going to want to keep uncrossing these as you're working. This is mostly important if you have 3 or more bobbins going on, because the more you have, the more tangled your yarn can get as you work. So we're going to keep working like that, and then I will show you the next type of color change we have. Okay, picking back up, we are now at the end of this row, and we're going to review the second type of color change, which is color changing for an entire row, where we're not going to be picking up multiple colors like we did last time. So you can see throughout this pattern, we'll have 2 color blocks broken up by 1 line of color, back to 2 color blocks again. So now that we have these color blocks completed, we're going to go back to this alternating color. So to switch colors on a row, what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert my hook into the next stitch as usual, pull up my loop, and once again I'm going to leave these 3 on my hook, and I'm going to grab my alternating color, pull my peach string tout, and pull through with that alternating color. And the reason I do this instead of just chaining 1 is because now when I make my chain 1 to begin my new row, we're already using this gray, so your edges will look a bit cleaner. So now I'm just going to chain 1, and this, you can always pull this strand as taut as you like. And the other thing you'll want to do, if you're not going to be using this color in this row, is I will cut off my ends, and you can actually do the same with this gray. So you'll cut a tail, and a good habit is to always weave your ends in as you go, so you can pull this to your desired gauging, and then you can weave this tail in, and same with the gray. Okay, so I'm gonna weave my ends in after this just for the sake of the tutorial, but we're going to turn our work. You'll see the tails here, and now we can go ahead and work that alternating color all the way across the row. And I will continue working this until the end, and then we're gonna do the same exact color change when we get to the end to pick up our color blocking again. So I will work this across, and we will jump back in once this row is done. You'll notice here that even though we have this break, we're gonna keep working in our alternating color, or I should say color C if you're working for the pattern. Color C is always the line color. It's what we're using to create our gingham pattern as we work. Okay, so now we're coming to the last stitch in the row. So I'm going to do the same, yarn over just like I would for my half double crochet, insert, pull up a loop. I'm going to leave these 3. And now to create our gingham pattern, I'm going to pick up the peach color, which is the opposite to the last color worked below. So I'm going to grab our peach, and I'm going to pull that through before I do my chain 1, pull my gray strand tout, chain 1 in the peach, and turn. Now that we're done with our dark gray color C, we can clip that tail. And again, you can tie this in a knot if you want to, or you can just weave this directly in. I prefer to just weave mine in a couple times. I think it gives a cleaner look. And now we can just continue working in our peach color. And now for this row, we're gonna go back to the exact same color changing strategy that we used in the rows below for color changing. So once we get to our middle piece, once we get to this last stitch, we will pull through our final 3 loops on the hook using our gray color that alternates from the peach we're currently using. And we'll just keep repeating that same pattern for every color change that we have in the pattern.